Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You got it. It's us. Whatever it takes. I'm here with Miss Anonymous. I'm here with Misty Period. And I am Rita Boom. And what are we bringing them tonight, guys? Let them have it. Hi, ladies.
Hey. Hi.
What's up?
What's up?
Feeling good. Doing some step work, man. Doing some step work. We'll talk some steps.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I came dressed for the occasion because I heard tonight we are talking about step 4. I hate it here.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Just saying.
Okay. I want to say something right here. I think this is the perfect thing for you to say. I hate it here because you hate step 4. But it is nothing to be afraid of, and you've gone through it. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's the meat of the program right after, 1, 2, and 3, since it's 4. But I just want to tell everybody, don't be afraid of it. It is the best thing to work and get it all out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like when it comes to step 4, people drag their feet, people as in me. That was the pun with the hat. I hated the thought of step 4. And I feel like step 4 has a huge stigma behind it. You know, I find that people are willing to work the steps and they're, chugging down that track. And then they get to step 4 and they're like, I don't want to do it.
I don't know why, but everybody, I always heard when I came in, the real work's in 4, and then you have to tell somebody about it in 5. And I was like, and it scared me, and it took me a while to do it. So I want everybody new that comes in and you are working the step, nothing to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that step 4 is so scary for people? Like, I feel like it is the one that gets the most shade, I guess. It's the one that's dreaded. So for me, it was because I had to rehash some very painful moments in my life in order to get past them. Were you afraid at all of step 4? Either one of you?
I was, because, I really just didn't even know if, what they were at all. So, and it was kind of hard to understand, like, how am I supposed to go back and remember every little thing, and then I figured out, okay, I'm just going to, get the low hanging fruit type thing and deal with those issues. So, I was ready though, because really after what I did and what I'd been through and put everybody else through, I was ready for a good old scrub down of Miss Anonymous,
I agree.
I wanted it. And I think, Rita, you're still working on it. Misty, you've gone through it. I've gone through it. How do you feel about it now, Rita?
I respect.
Rita, we can only see half your face.
Oh no.
Where's the rest of it? Oh,
there we go.
We are.
Sorry, I thought you would want to know.
Thank you. Yeah. Why would I do that to the viewers?
Get the fuck out of here.
A tease, only giving them half the face. So step 4, respect. I have been going through the steps, like, when they say it's a lifetime program, I took that literally when it came to the steps. But that's not healthy for me. I identified that recently, and I have been able to, I had some time to work it with somebody who is extremely good at working their steps and working with others. And took a huge chunk of meat out of step 4 this past week. I treated it like a little retreat, and any homework I got, I immediately was right on it. And because I want this anonymous person to know how serious I'm taking it and how much I respect the fact that they're giving me the time to work it with me. You know what I mean? I've seen the progress and I like it and I want it, you know. And I've had some feels, man. I thought I was gonna be like, oh, I'm tough, man. I can get through this. Like, oh, I'm King Kong. And I pretty much like called you, like left you like 3 questionable voicemails or text messages, you know, like you might want to do a wellness check, you know, or I'm not doing this shit anymore. Fuck step 4. You know,
and then you had to go take a nap because you were wore out.
Oh yeah, I passed out for like a couple hours. Like, you know, like those days, like.
I have to say, Rita, when you were going into this sabbatical that you took at the beginning, you were eager, but this is so hard, and I mean this with all the love in my heart.
Constructive criticism, baby, give it to me.
After you did the financial inventory, and then you started getting into your resentments, from the first day of that time off to the last day of that time off, I saw a change, you know, and I think that it's like taking an anvil off your shoulders, you know, when you can finally start addressing these things that have just weighed on you. I was like you when I went into step 4. I was like, I got this shit. I am not going to be fazed by this. And so when I started going through my resentments, my very first resentment, I was sobbing because my first resentment was myself.
Likewise.
And, you know, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. But I found when I was working step 4, just writing the resentments and getting ready for step 5 brought healing. You know, just finally being able to put all this nasty shit that I carried forever with me down on paper to, you know, pinpoint it. It released a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
The other thing was too, is it was like I was like, all right, I got like I had a ballpark figure in my head when I first sat down, but then like one thing would then lead to another thing, then would lead to, oh wait, I totally forgot about that, and like, you know, it just it was a little overwhelming. And it's the other thing is too, is like, it's I've had this before, like I've always preached about it. I love group therapy, and this is like a group therapy with like-minded people, you know. Yeah,
Can you explain, like in your own words, Misty, what step 4 means? Like if you were explaining this is what step 4, what you do and what it means, what would you say?
So step 4 is identifying the reasons that you fell into your addiction or stayed in your addiction. It's identifying what hurt you, what you were running from. And it's important to do this because you have to know, you know, that your addiction is not, it's not an alcohol thing. It's not a drug thing. It's not a money thing. You know, my addiction is a me problem. And until I went through step 4, I didn't understand that, you know, and now as a sponsor myself, I'm getting ready to take someone through their step 4 once we get to 5. And I'll be honest in saying I'm a little bit nervous about this because when my sponsor took me through step 5, which is where you go back through 4 and you discuss everything, like it was the best experience. And I hope that my sponsees get the same thing from me. And it was a long day. My step 5 was a long day.
Mine was too. Yeah.
But I appreciate it. I appreciated it.
The other thing is too, is like, you know, with step 4, you know, you're getting so much, like I was able to share so many things that I've been wanting to share, but like with who? You know, because like the people that I used to share things and memories and stuff like that with, were gone, you know, we're gone. And it's like,
you were ghosted.
And but it also took me like a minute to be able to trust again. Like, I mean, I didn't want to talk about anything personal with anybody because I was like, well, you know, that was like the ultimate blow, you know, like that. You know, so I'm like, if somebody who,
so, well, I'm going to ask you the same question then. step 4, if you were explaining it to, you know what it says.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're explaining it to somebody that you're telling them how to do it, what would you say? And I know you've only done like half.
I got this. It's like in business, they say dress for the position you want, not the one you have. Well, buck up for the step that you want because the progress you want, because you're gonna have to go through this first. You gotta put your big girl pants on first, your big boy pants on, and take on 4, and then we'll move you up to the next level.
Yes. I think yep. And I think that it's when you start to really dig deep and you start to remember the things of, because the whole point is we're trying to get rid of character defects. So they have to be identified, right? Then you have to kind of trace it back in your life to see what started that. Why does that make me so, why does it just burn me up? Why am I that way? Why am I such a people pleaser? Where did this ego come from? Things like that. And so that's what I think it is to change those character defects, get rid of them. And this is what you do in 5, because when you're meeting with whoever it is that you want to, and you're talking to them, I mean, it has to be a relationship where you're not afraid to say the things that you have done and been through, and you have to have trust in that person that they're not going to judge you, tell anybody, this is a safe place and all that. So I can see how it's kind of intimidating to certain people, newcomers that are coming in the program. But to me, when they say, "Oh, here's the recovery program 1 through 12," I want the one that's going to do the most work, like the most change is so I was happy to get to it. It took me a while to really understand it, but once I did it, pretty fast. And it was probably one of the best days of my life when I had that step 5 and talked to that other person and told them, just everything.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good
Yes.
to let it out. And the one thing I really liked about step 4 was step 4 took me in the trenches. Step 4 hurt, but I came to terms with my resentments.
Mm-hmm.
I faced my fears, which is the second or third part of step 4. But then when it was over and you get to the end, you list your character strengths and your virtues. And, so I am letting go of all of this bad stuff. I'm identifying what made my personality the way that it is, and it's just so heavy. And for me, it was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got to those character strengths and virtues, and I was like, you know what? I am a good person. I am a helper. I am loyal, and so it made me feel really good. Like when you go through 5 and you're wrapping up step 4, there's no better way to do that than to have that confidence boost of this is who I really am, and I believe that everything that happens in our life molds us. Especially at a young age. And Rita, I can so identify with once you start going through those resentments. I think that there are some things in our minds that we close off. And when you open some doors, it's really a floodgate. And I think that's where the healing comes from. You're dealing with this stuff.
You have to realize there's a reason why your brain shut that door.
Mm-hmm.
And to open it up takes a lot of being brave.
Courage, yes.
Really, where else are you going to do this in your life?
I thought I had handled it, and I thought I had, but I was doing it just so not wrong, but just misguided.
We didn't know how.
I no better, right?
Nobody's ever given us a book, but when we
have a mom,
there it was, and it was telling us how to do everything. And so I feel kind of lucky to have gotten to this spot where I was forced to clean myself up.
I had my ex-wife's mom used to tell me, "You stopped developing at 19." I was like, "Might be onto something, Jackie."
Were you around when you were 19? I don't think so.
Listen, I feel 24, so that was a couple years ago. So she wasn't awful.
No.
I
I've
feel
matured.
like
I've grown
cut
since
her a
then.
break.
I've grown since then.
Watches the show.
I feel like even if you don't have an addiction, I think it's just good for the soul to go through 12 steps.
Oh, listen, JoJo has a book, 12 Steps for everybody. And I thought that was so genius because it's so true. Like, okay, like even in the video of my mom today, she talks about the lady at the supermarket who's freaking out about the coupon and shit like that because what she was trying to allude was they didn't have a program. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But her focus was one day at a time. But I picked up what she was like.
On another
I understood that video more than I've ever understood it ever. Because it's not the first time I've seen it, but I hadn't seen it in years and I didn't remember it. And when I put it on, I was like, whoa.
On the other hand, to get really down and dirty and honest with yourself and to dig it all out, I think you have to be very, very humbled. And
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I get done. Check.
Listen, we were humbled. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mhm.
Humbled.
Yeah.
That's a fucking understatement.
Exactly.
Understatement.
And the crazy thing, when you go back and you think about it, is we did this shit to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Things may have happened to us.
Mhm.
But ultimately, we made the first decision.
Yes.
We were the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, you have to think about what shaped us to get us
Yes.
to be that way. Well, a lot of it was piled up and the doors were shut in the brain. And, we didn't deal with it until we absolutely had to, which was when we were in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to open that up and look at it and stand back and go, all right, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
And how we affect other people and how did they treat us. Because think about it, nobody's safe in this world from anything. Okay.
No.
And how you give is how you get back. And did I always give great? No. But do I, just for today, feel like I give good now? I think I give excellent now, because that's what I want back, man. Like, I don't want to hurt anymore and I don't want to hurt people anymore.
The law of attraction. Miss Anonymous, when you went through step 4, like I know you and I have had this conversation in depth that when, we come into recovery and all you do is cry because now you're feeling those emotions that you had dampened for so long. Do you feel like, maybe you just don't cry as much after you've been through 4? Like you just feel a little bit stronger. I mean, I feel like I'm still a crybaby, but
Well, I felt a lot of understanding for why I couldn't cope or why I looked for something else. I kind of understood myself a little bit better. And, I think it's very important to go back to little Miss Anonymous or little Misty or little Rita and heal that one first because everything piles on top of her head until here you are.
Back in those days, it was Ritamari.
Yeah.
I feel like I have more sympathy for other people having gone through step 4.
Me too.
Because we like
me. I mean, come on, guys. I came into the program in 2020. This is my first tackle at step 4.
I think
you weren't ready in 2020. You weren't
any of the years I followed.
I think that
2025 is when you were ready.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard that if you've gone through 4 and then 5, which is 6 and 7 right away, you're less likely to get a new clean date, because you do have more tools of the program. So maybe during those 2 years that you were in, I mean, it kind of sounds like you were just abstaining, which I've got no problem with that. I'm just here for recovery.
I was in it, but I didn't do the extra work. I got complacent. I thought it was a routine. It was like, okay, just got to hit a meeting, just got to host my meetings. Just like I let other things come before my recovery. And
anything you put in front of your recovery, you will lose.
That's exactly
it's gone.
That's exactly what the problem. That's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
And then I just lost all control. And
and then thank God that we have God and he picks up behind us, because when you got back in and you knew, like, yes, got to work the steps, get in there, live it every day, that, you had that more of a mentality. I didn't know you before then. So, I
listen, I did, it was good. But then
Do you feel like everything is finally, does it feel different? Like everything has fallen into place? Like you're where you're supposed to be?
Things are still falling into place, but I feel totally different. I feel a way that I have never, I guess, felt ever before, honestly. Like, and it's because of, it's not from another person. It's myself, and what my entire day, I keep saying that, like my entire day,
mine too,
is recovery, church, work, and what do I do? You know what I mean? Like,
who do you hang out with? Who do you talk to?
Right. What are we doing here with this? You know what I mean? Like,
with like-minded people.
For fun, I'm editing the podcast. Not well, but I'm editing it. But
you do better than I could.
Hey, it's come a long way. It's how I still get my hat, right?
When I knew that Boom was working in that step 4, and I knew the day that she was going through the first part, I was at work, and so I texted her when I knew she was done, and I was like, don't you feel great? Like, when you do step work with your sponsor, doesn't it just feel amazing? You feel strong, like you could take on the world. That's a great fucking feeling.
Wow.
To Misty, it is. Like, I just feel like
I bet your sponsor feels great also, because that's a really cool thing to say. It just really is. And I always, if I'm doing step work with somebody, there is a prayer in there before that. I will not use my will. I will use God's will. And everything that I say, I hope it is, what the right thing, because it's scary to have sponsees and you think, here's their chance to really turn their life around. So I got to be 110% into that for them. Not only that, but they're going to take this information and pass it on. So it has to be the right information.
With those, like, you can read it, you can interpret it. And and all sponsors do things differently too. You know what I mean? It's all about style. It's all about, everybody has their own recovery.
Well,
it's different. No recovery is different. Is exactly the same. They're like snowflakes.
Sponsee is different too, like a dual addiction or something like that. I have several, and not many of them are the same. I use different books. I'm talking about the same thing, and to the same point, but with different tools.
It's how you get there. Yeah, my sponsees are polar opposites.
Yeah,
what works for one does not work for another, and
that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
But and also with the step 4 too is like again, we talk about being humble. I mean, like, again, the perfect time to do step 4 is right after this, with the life lesson that I have learned and grown from. I think I'm a different person, 100%. I know I'm a different person. I fucking know I'm a different person than I was months ago. Yesterday.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Anyway,
I'm getting, dude, man, I'm like, dude, the other day I texted my pastor's wife because I felt like I had a moment where the Holy Spirit spoke through me, and it was with my dad, and it was like,
really?
Off the cuff. And it was like, I was actually in between, like, going from from the center to the hospital, stopped him, let Leroy out, and my dad called, and I just started talking, like, he was like vomiting in his mouth, and it was like, it was a great conversation. It was about advice that he gave me that I took, and that's why I love my life, especially when it comes to work. Touch wood, just for today, just for a second. But my track record of enjoying my jobs is a lot longer than the ones that I didn't, and it's all because of him. And like, I was saying shit to him that, like,
you didn't know where it was coming from.
I felt it. I felt.
You want to know why? because number one, the Holy Spirit, you're exactly right, but you're also changing your way of thinking and living. Like step 2 says, we are trying to replace these character defects, throw them out, bring good ones in, and love, tolerance, generosity, those are the humble, those are the things we're trying to every day put in. And since we're living this every day, you're working it, you're going to your church, you're talking to your people and everything, your brain is picking it up.
Yeah, I'm healing and I know what I want now, and it's like, I always have remorse for things. I always have the pain from that relapse, which I have to hang on to. But, eventually you got to pick yourself up.
You have to hang on to it. I
don't think you have to hang on to it.
No, just so you never repeat history.
Yes, but I'm saying you turned it around. I would celebrate it.
I turned it around before.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, and it got even better after your recovery got 100 times better after your relapse. So
I'm with Miss Anonymous on this. Yeah.
Oh, this recovery is so different. Different.
Say all the time, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, because we're supposed to learn from those, right? We're supposed to find that silver lining, turn it around. Yeah, it sucked. Yes, it sucked. I was thinking last night, the hardest thing that I've ever had to learn in my life has been in the last 2.5 years. And my mother was not here to help me, to watch me on this earth, but I did it.
Yeah, I'm with Miss Anonymous on this, Rita. You can wear those scars without having to rip the wounds open. You can remember without having to drag yourself. And
I can't hate. I don't hate. I don't. Harbor anger. It's sadness. It's like, okay, but eventually it's just like,
you got to forgive yourself.
It was kind of a start over for you, and you did so much more right after you had to change your clean date. You
can't change what people are going to say, think, feel.
No, we can change one thing.
Us.
That's it.
Yep. And that's,
how I
my lesson was also a lot of other people's lessons. Like, I don't know what their whole, what God had in store for them, and how they took it away, how they walked away with it. But I know how I took that life lesson. That was done by me.
Exactly.
the ringleader. But
who screwed up my life? I did.
But I'm okay with how I saw his lesson, and I feel like I'm living it. And one day at a time.
I think it's going to be great when you finish your 4 and you work your 5 with your whoever. And and then I totally want to do a interview with you on that too.
Well, it'll be about that time to come back and do a, remember we said we're going to do some people we interviewed in the beginning?
We're going to revisit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be
fun. I was on that list, man.
Well, in the meantime, I'm just going to do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. What's up, guys? It's Rita Boom here, just telling you, if you enjoyed this podcast, get on there and leave some comments, all right? Whether you liked it, you didn't like it, if it's good enough of a comment, we're going to read it online. Know why? Because it helps our algorithm. That way we don't have to charge anybody anything crazy like that. So, again, leave the comments, we'll read them online, and boom, boom, boom. Don't place a bet today, okay? All right.